Welcome, everybody, to Coffee with Colby. My name's KT. I'm the youth minister at the Winnsboro Church of Christ. Colby, introduce yourself if you don't mind.
Yeah, Colby Clapp. I'm the preacher at the Winnsboro Church of Christ, even though I have yet to actually be there in person, except for when I was there several months ago, meeting everyone. I thought I would be there more now, but I am the preacher there. And yeah, I'm just taking these opportunities here with KT to maybe let y'all know something about me and get to know you as well as we can in this format. So,
absolutely, man. And I appreciate you, even amidst all this craziness, taking the time to do these videos with me and allow us to get to know you a little bit better. So this week, our first question comes from David Tex Willis. We just call him Tex around here. But Tex says this. It says, Colby, have you ever been to other countries? If so, in what capacity? And he specifies military, touring, or just mission work. And what did you take away from the experience or experiences? And he also said, if not, never mind.
Well, I have been, so I don't have to never mind.
Yeah, there you go.
I haven't been a lot of places, but I've quickly been into Mexico, Matamoros, right across the Brownsville border. My wife, Lisa, has family down in Brownsville, and we visited and went over there shopping. And funny thing about that is, you go into Mexico, into those markets, and it's very much wheeling and dealing.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not good at that. And so we bought some vanilla. Lisa likes to bake with vanilla you get from Mexico.
Wait, is it the one with the little rooster on it?
Yeah, and she likes the clear ones especially because clear ones don't change the color of her cake icing, and she likes to decorate cakes.
Interesting.
So we were getting some, and I thought I'd haggle them down pretty good. We got back in the cab, headed back to, the port. Right. And in the port, they have just the tourist shop there. Everything's overpriced, but the vanilla was cheaper than what I just paid for it. So I'm like, well, that's my haggling ability right there. So
I won't be taking you to buy any vehicles with me anytime soon.
Yeah. I'm not good at arguing the price down or anything, but then that was a quick visit. My long extended overseas visit was in college. I went to England. I went to Great Britain, a summer trip that one of the professors there at OC, John Maple, who recently retired, actually, I saw, took a group every summer to England, and we did church camps. And so we did 6 weeks, 1 week at the beginning, 1 week at the end, kind of drive around, sightseeing, then 2 weeks at church camps, followed by 2 weeks of church camps right there in the middle. 2 weeks in England, 2 weeks in Scotland. And I loved it, had a great time. And then the next year, Dr. Maple asked if I would go back with the group again. So a few of the other kids were going back. There were about a dozen of us or so.
Really?
And I said, well, I don't think so, Dr. Maple, because I need to get my internship in. Like I was only at that point a year and a half away from graduating.
Right.
And he said, well, how about you call up Mark and do your internship there? And he was referring to Mark Hill, a preacher in Loughborough, England. And I thought, So the second year, I spent all summer there. I got there and worked with Mark doing my internship, kind of ministry. He was the preacher and youth minister. It was a smaller church, and I was, doing a lot of youth stuff, but working with him too, and got the chance to preach at a few churches. And while I was there, got the chance to drive on the left side of the road. That was fun. The hardest part is shifting, because I was driving a standard, and to shift with your left hand.
Oh.
Man, that's tough.
It'd be weird.
But I didn't have an accident. I was driving a little Mini Cooper, actually, from the 60s. Fun little car.
There you go.
But anyway, it was a great summer. And then at the end of the summer, Dr. Maple got there with the rest of the students, and we did the church camp. So that was a fun adventure. And I learned a lot. I mean, Mark was a great mentor to have. And especially because in England, Christianity is not near as normalized as it is here, right. Especially in the South where I grew up, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, the Bible Belt, where most people you meet, at least to have some kind of affirmation that they believe, or they sometimes go to church, or maybe often go to church. And, we are very, I grew up in that pretty Christian culture, and England was not that. But it made their faith all the more I guess powerful because, while he wasn't a perfectly eloquent speaker any more than I am, and he didn't have, the bells and whistles of big church buildings, where other people on staff or whatever. And I'd raised my own money to be able to be there with him that summer. But man, he worked hard, and he just loved Jesus and loved serving him. And so did so many of the people in his church. And I don't know, it was encouraging and humbling all at the same time. And I think back on those days with a smile on my face a lot. There's some good people over there in those little churches that, are struggling in a lot of ways, but in some ways doing just fine because their faith is holding on. So anyway, yeah, England, I'd love to go back someday. And because pretty countryside, especially get out of London. London was cool, but you didn't meet any British people in London. It's very multicultural and a neat city with a lot of history, but you didn't get a feel for what England was like till you got into the smaller towns. And
right.
I enjoyed it a lot. So yeah, the small town, and just it was a good experience for me. I'm very grateful I was able to do it, and that I was able to find the support of friends and family who enabled me to go financially. So it was cool to do my internship.
Could I ask a follow-up question on that one?
Sure.
So, okay, I'm sure you've experienced it here in the States. Even me as a youth minister, I experience it, obviously, where you're just talking to a new group of people that you've just met or something. And the question finally comes up to, what do you do? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And usually I don't want to say that people completely change whenever you tell them, oh, I'm a minister. But I'm curious.
Often they do. Often the conversation changes.
Right. Exactly. It shifts a little bit. And so I'm curious, did you kind of have the similar response there, or did you run into that, or do you remember ever even mentioning that while you were over there?
I don't remember too much because most of the people I worked with are already part of the church. But I do remember that this was right before, it was the summer before 9/11. So this was 2001, the summer that I spent the whole summer there. And, that in England in that point, they weren't too keen on a missionary coming in. So like at the airport and customs and stuff, they asked me what I was doing. And I said, well, I'm here I just vaguely said something along the lines of internship because that's what I've been told to say, that I'm going to be working with a guy in Loughborough, England. And
which is true.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I was trying to be very truthful, but I was told that, if you say, I'm going to come and convert people to our church, like they're going to say, nope, get back on the plane, because they did not have a very open idea. I mean, there's freedom of religion there. And one cool thing was you can pray in the schools there.
Really?
Because the state church of England is the Church of England. I mean, the state religion of England is the Church of England. And so you can come in as a Christian group and just, no separation of church and state, but a very philosophical idea of don't be pushy. And that's just kind of their culture in some ways. And again, you learn stuff. And I don't remember too many personal interactions about, saying that I was working with the church there, although I know I did a few, but, people nod or whatever, and they were okay with it. But they don't like pushiness over there. And I think Americans are fairly loud and pushy to begin with. And so an American coming to express his religious beliefs.
That idea.
I don't know. Loud. But it was an experience, and made me appreciate the church there. And also, one thing that Dr. Maple told us was, for the most part, America runs about 20 years behind England. And I would say in a lot of ways, the America I'm in now looks quite a bit like the England I was in 20 years ago, at least as far as how much religious stuff is embraced or just not wanted to be discussed. And, and the fact that we aren't near as much of the assumption of you go to church. That assumption doesn't hold much water anymore, even in places like Texas.
You're exactly right. And I actually was reading a book here recently it's technically a two-part book. One is Reappearing Church, and then, well, the first one I actually should say is Disappearing Church, and then Reappearing Church. It talks a lot about those ideas. I'll probably talk to you more off camera about it.
Yeah.
Don't
want to bog them too much down. And
don't want to go down too much of a rabbit hole. But
and the Greek and the Hebrew, it's
yeah. But it's a very interesting idea of kind of really a post-religion kind of society, and that's kind of what we're facing. And it's not to say that we can't go back to some of the old ways, but it kind of is saying that the old ways have kind of been moved on from by our society. And so kind of we have different struggles now.
Yeah, very true.
In many ways they're the same struggles, but they look very different. So anyway, very interesting, man. I'd love to talk to you more about that, but we'll continue with our scheduled programming here. So I guess a quick question follow-up to that I would love to know as well would be, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go?
I mean, I love to just take road trips in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
You know, road trips with small children, very hard. Don't quite enjoy them as much as before we had children. But now road trips with teenagers, maybe a little bit better in some ways, have more fun at least, but still those car rides you can get. So we don't take them as much as maybe we should, or as I would like to. But anywhere in the world, I would say it would be cool to go to the Holy Lands. But here's the thing. I don't want to go to the Holy Lands and see all the tourist sites, holy sites necessarily. Right. I would want to go out in somebody's like field or farm or whatever, off the beaten path, and just wander around and to kind of, because, you know, I talked to a guy who went last year, and he said he felt like he was, you know, like they were herding cattle and he was just a cow, and they just shove you right past this, you know, the tomb, whatever tomb. There's several different tombs and several different Golgothas, and, you know, whichever one they're saying is the real one. Your tour guide telling you, and, you know, but like, you know, it's all, and the churches and, you know, all the touristy things. He said he really enjoyed it, but he said, man, the crowds were horrendous. And I'm like, that is not for me. I don't like really crowded, shoulder to shoulder.
I'm with you there.
But just, it'd be cool to be over in Jerusalem, in the areas around Israel and Jerusalem, and to not have to worry about wars or anything, but just be able to wander around and, like, you know, that'd be cool. I don't know if it's possible, but it'd be cool. So I would like to go to some of those places and just kind of soak up the countryside more so than go to the touristy spots.
You know, I mean, if you and me find another friend of ours, we can be 3 wandering Gentiles or something.
There we go. Bringing gifts. Yeah.
we could sing. That's really cool. You actually, it's interesting you say that. I believe we were planning on, as a church, putting together a trip to go over to the Holy Lands for this spring, or going into this summer. And that just kind of reminds us yet again just how crazy these times are, right? That we're not going to
make plans, and
exactly
they are just plans.
You're exactly right. So, well, I guess to kind of close this out with one more get to know you question, I would really like to ask a 2-part question. So the first part would be, what are you least excited about leaving, you know, at your home there in McAlester?
Well, I wanted to show off. I wanted to show off my artwork tonight, and I'm going to be sad to leave this room. This was the room I painted for Slater whenever he was born. Yeah. If you don't know what is behind me, we definitely cannot be friends. It is the map from the book The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, just in case you don't know. That way so you can bring in, I knew exactly what it was, Colby. You have to do that. But I painted this for Slater, and it took a while. It was rather labor intensive, but it was cool, and I love Hobbit stuff. Man. So I'll throw in a freebie, get to know you. It's my second favorite book. Bible's first, obviously, but as far as a secular book, it's The Hobbit. And so I'm going to be sad to leave this room, but as far as McAlester, I mean, it's the people. You know, we made some good, strong relationships here. Two of our favorite people are actually a preacher that and his wife that still live here. He preached here, goodness, 20 years ago or more. And now drives around, preaches in smaller churches. He's semi-retired and kind of hits different churches that need a preacher. But man, he and his wife have good as gold. Salt of the earth, and gonna miss them terribly. And many other friends and acquaintances, and you know, the church members here that have embraced us and helped us and loved on us. And so that there's many of them. I won't try to name them all, but it is people that's hard to leave any place you leave. Because obviously people is what God's most concerned about too. But there's going to be people we miss. There were people we missed in Iowa, people in Memphis before that. We didn't even live in Memphis that long, but some of those friendships still hold on, and it's hard not to see them.
Even in the short time spans, you're able, I'd say, to make some lasting relationships.
Yeah, like I mentioned, Mark Hill over in Loughborough, England. Sometimes I wish I could, you know, just go knock on his door and say hi. Because
absolutely, man. Well, cool. I guess the second part to that question, going off of The Hobbit, you and your family are about to go on an adventure.
We sure are.
Yeah. You like that segue?
Go out your door, you never know where it might lead. Yeah,
absolutely. I've only ever really watched the movie. Don't tell my don't tell my high school English teacher that. I technically read the book my freshman year. But thank you, Spark Notes. So I wasn't a reader back then, but y'all are about to come and join us, Lord willing, sooner rather than later, and everything here in Winnsboro. And of course, you gotta kind of put me aside and don't answer with you being excited to come see me and work with me. I get it. But for the rest of the people, what are you most excited about, would you say, coming and joining us here in Winnsboro? What are you most looking forward to, rather?
Well, I guess, you know, there's several things I'm looking forward to. And KT, I have to admit, I have always wanted to work with another minister on staff, you know, like a youth minister. So I've never, in the years I've spent here and then up in Iowa, that's never part of a church that could do that. And so I'm eagerly looking forward to that. It's part of, you know, one of the reasons I sought out moving to a place like Winnsboro. And so I'm excited for that. But as far as the answer to that question, I got to fall back to it's really the same answer of what I'm going to miss. And that is, I'm excited for the people I'm going to see. And I've got some family close by. My aunt lives in Longview, my dad's sister, and she's going to be excited to have this closer there. But I know there's just on Facebook and those limited interactions I've been able to have so far because of the situation. There have been lots of people like, ooh, I want to get to know them better. I want to, you know, kind of learn their stories and have them be a part of my story and share those stories. And I mean, the last time I was down there, I got to stay with David and Gina, and we had, you know, a good long conversation and so rich, you know, and she talked about some of her story, and David showed me his hunting trips, and that's just cool. Everybody has, you know, the stories I want to know, find out about, share in, be a part of, and I am looking forward, you know, those interactions and the new brothers and sisters in Christ I get to embrace, getting to know, and hopefully they won't mind getting to know me. But, you know, that's the adventure. I mean, adventure, you know, isn't necessarily the wares or the exciting, you know, risks, and sometimes it is, but mostly it's who you meet, it's who you connect with, and again, I think that's the way God designed us, is to be family together, and all the other blessings pale in comparison if we really think about it. So I'm looking forward to people, and again, the conversations I have had, phone, Facebook, all of that. I'm eagerly saying I know some people there I really want to get to know. So
Absolutely, dude. Well, I can certainly speak for everyone here, I think, and say that we are more than excited to continue to get to know you, continue to get to know your family. We're ready for all this to clear up so we can see you face to face and really kind of get to know you even better. So, man, we're excited. And I guess if people have watched it this far, they're excited to get to know you as well. So they've
And
made
the
it to
Greek
this
and the
point.
Hebrew and the
Yeah,
Aramaic, and we
they
can make
made
it
it through
boring
all of
real
that.
fast. If it ain't been boring yet, we can make it boring. I could go all off on the Hobbit. I could recite you the whole book. So.
Man, we might have to start a new series of videos then. You can explain it to me because I've never officially read it. So, yeah,
Movies don't do it justice. I'll just say that.
absolutely. Well, all right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Colby, thank you again. I really appreciate you doing this. And as we always say, if you want to leave a comment below or send us a question over on Facebook or on our website at winnsboro.church, feel free to do so. I'll be able to ask Colby those questions and everything. And we'd love to hear from you about anything. If you have, a need, if you have a prayer request or just a comment that you want to give us, an encouragement. If you're liking these videos, be sure to like them. Be sure to subscribe to our channel so you can see those videos as they go up. We just want to continue to stay connected to everybody, especially during this really strange time. So, Colby, anything else you want to say before we close?
Just thank you so much. And yeah, I'm
Absolutely, man.
looking forward to being in person.
No doubt. No doubt. All right, Colby, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
We'll
Katie.
see you tomorrow for worship and next week for more coffee with Colby.